All right, we are here at beautiful Scottsdale National with PXG for what is an exciting brand new product launch. I'm here with usual Brad Schweigert. Good to see you again,
Good
sir.
to see you, Brad.
Thanks for taking the time. It's kind of exciting. We've got, I think when I kind of got the invite to come here, I was expecting some new woods, but we've got irons, woods. We've got a ton of new stuff from PXG for 2026. But yeah, before we get into kind of the meat and potatoes of it, when you look at kind of moving into like a whole new line, where they have everything here, is there anything different you guys kind of do internally in terms of getting ready for, instead of just doing some irons or just doing woods? Is it different when you get into when you're doing the whole lineup?
Well, it's a lot of work, obviously, because you have multiple product lines across, multiple categories. So it's just a lot more work, a lot more. You have to have more capacity to kind of like handle throughout the whole business. Not just on the R&D side, but on the production side, the operations side, the marketing side. Like there's a lot more stuff to go through. But we're a big company now; we can handle all that. So we're capable to pull it off.
So we'll start with the woods, and we were fortunate, I know, Golf to BRX fans with, in the forum, we kind of got to see on tour a few weeks ago. Yeah. There was some spy shots or
we've had some great adoption on tour already. So
which we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we've gotten over 20 drivers in play, already across the men's and women's side. So, very successful early response. It's only been out there for a couple weeks, so that's really, really good.
That's awesome. So yeah, the brand new ones, we saw them up there. Our guy Greg got photos, when they're on the truck. But interesting, kind of a different set makeup this year in terms of just drivers. We look at drivers, and there's a few more models. I know previous ones, Black Ops, there were kind of 2 models, and then a lightweight came later on. We're looking at, it's 4 models?
4 models. Now? 4 models of drivers. So we have the Max 10K Plus, which, as the name suggests, the combined MOI, about the horizontal axis, which is the one that affects like the top to bottom mishits, and then the vertical axis, which affects those heel and toe mishits. When you take those 2 MOIs and you add it together, it exceeds 10,000. Basically, it just means it's really forgiving no matter where you hit it on the face. That's the easy way to understand it. And then we have our tour model, which is going to be the sleekest profile, kind of smaller head profile. It's our lowest spinning option. It's also produces the fastest ball speed performance. That's because mainly through the center of gravity location, it's located the most forward. And so that's going to deliver the club head with a little bit less dynamic loft, which is going to help boost the speed. It also has a little bit taller face, which helps increase speed as well. And then we have what we call our Tour Mid, which, as the name would suggest, it actually lies almost exactly in the middle between the Tour and the Max 10K. So it's a really cool head. It's been, adopted pretty well on tour so far as well. And it's something that a lot of players like because it has kind of the best of both worlds. It's very forgiving. It's lies in the middle between the spin perspective and the CG perspective is in the middle too. So it's a really, really nice option, I think, for people to consider. And then we have what we call the Max Light. So the Max Light is the same chassis as the Max 10K. It's 14 grams lighter head weight, and so it has a little bit less adjustability in it in terms of like the heel toe weighting is removed. We still have adjustment in the back, so we can actually take the stock head weight for all of our other drivers is 203 grams. That's with the hosel adapter included. The Max Light is 189 grams, so it's 14 grams lighter. And that's with a 12.5 gram in the back. So we can actually easily make it 10 grams, up to 10 grams lighter from there. So we can go all the way down to sub 180 gram with the hosel adapter. So that gives us a lot of options in terms of, meeting the customer needs that are looking for that really lightweight product.
Yeah, no, and I like the fact there's kind of some extra models in there just to cover a wider range of golfers. So the Lightning, let's get kind of what is kind of the special sauce in the Lightning. I know from the crown view, when you look down on the driver, we can kind of see a familiar composite top. That kind of looks very familiar to Black Ops.
So Black Ops, for us as a brand, is our most successful driver product we've ever had. So, we're coming at it from a perspective like, hey, Black Ops is really good. How can we make it better? And so, what we focus on as an R&D team were really 3 things that we wanted to try to improve. It's like we want to make it faster. Of course. We have USGA rules, but how can we find our way around that? How can we get it a little bit more speed? How can we make it more forgiving? And then how do we make it more versatile? So those were like kind of the areas that we focus on. So if we go back to the speed thing, like, okay, this is really kind of gets really technical. So you have to try to follow along, or the audience have to try to follow along a little bit. But basically, we have CT, we have the USGA rules kind of limiting, ball speed performance. And so, what we're trying to do when we try to deliver enhanced speed is in essence, whenever there's an impact, there's energy losses that occur during that impact.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to get more speed into the ball, we have to reduce those energy losses somehow. And so one of the guys on our team came up with a concept that he pitched to the group, and we said, okay, let's figure out how to do this. And the idea was, okay, our Black Ops driver is very good, like I said before, but the primary frequency mode of the Black Ops driver was the vibration was occurring. The primary frequency mode was in the sole.
Okay.
And it was at about 3,800 hertz, and it was vibrating in and out of the sole. The idea was, what if we can move that primary frequency mode to the face and increase it so that it's 4,500 hertz? And people are like, what is 4,500 hertz? Why is that important? Basically, without going into, like too deep into the weeds, that frequency matches the average duration of the golf ball on the face during impact. So during impact, there's an impulse load on the face, and we're trying to get the natural frequency of the face to vibrate in tune with the duration of the load on the face during impact. And so doing that will reduce some of the energy losses and then help us achieve a bit more speed. But that to have the idea is one thing. It's like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Like I said on Black Ops, we're 3,800 and we're in the sole. So we want to go to 4,500 and move it to the face. So, when you look at the Lightning driver, one of the first things, this one's cut in half, so you have to see it on our other product, but you see the spine feature that goes right through the middle of the sole. It's one of the most noticeable features on there. And people might go, oh, that's just for cosmetics. It's not for cosmetics. This stiffens the structure of the sole and is one of the main drivers that helps move the frequency from the sole to the face.
Gotcha.
So it's a very structural feature in the sole of the club. So that's, kind of the ball speed side. How do we make it more forgiving? Well, the USGA has rules on MOI that affects what I call the heel toe misses. So it's the vertical axis through the CG. That's limited at 5,900. So how do we get the MOI to be higher, in what is the horizontal axis, which affects top to bottom mishits, without exceeding the MOI that the USGA is regulating. So what we have to do is, if you have more heel toe mass, that's going to make us. We're at the limit basically with relative to the USGA on Black Ops. So how do we get the other MOI about the horizontal axis up without exceeding the USGA limits for the vertical axis MOI? So that's actually reducing some of the heel toe mass that was in the club.
Okay.
And pulling, like you can see, weights are pulled in, and putting a lot more mass deep in the club. Because when you pull it deep in the club, it's going to actually increase the MOI about that horizontal axis quite a bit. And so now you get a lot of stability on the face, whether you hit it high or low. You get much more consistent ball velocity and spin. So that means you're going to hit it further on those mishits. So that's going to help make it a lot more forgiving. And then we already kind of talked about a lot of the different models, the versatility, having 4 different models. Fitting is a huge aspect of what we do.
Yep.
We have a lot of movable weighting, so we can fine tune, the driver for the individual. So no matter what level of player you are, no matter what level of speed you are, no matter what your swing type is, we can figure out how to optimize a driver for you.
Yeah.
And so you're going to walk away with a product that's really well fit for you and allow you to go out and play your best.
And then also too, you noticed as we look on the face, definitely some kind of unique milling on the face. Does that have anything to do performance-wise? Is that just a visual thing, so you can kind of either see more loft or kind of change the visual from a dress?
It started from as that, so the idea was let's make it so you can see the face a little bit better. Yep. A lot of the feedback from the tour players, because we had a black face previously, and when you could see the face, you could see more loft, so you can it feels like you're playing more loft, more friendlier, like most of the people can relate to, like loft as your friend. So if you see more loft, it just gives you more confidence. So, and then provide a contrast between, like a contrasting lead edge that allows you to aim it a little bit better, between the face. And so it started out as purely cosmetic was the concept. Once we got it in and I was feeling it, I'm like, man, those are pretty, it's laser etched pattern. So there's actually a change in thickness. It's like micro grooves basically on the face. And so I was like, I wonder if that's helping us from from a performance perspective. So we actually did some testing on it, and in both dry and wet conditions, and in fact, especially in wet conditions, it actually improves. So the way we did the test, we did the exact same head with the pattern and without, so it wasn't like Black Ops to Lightning, but the exact same head with the 2 different face finishes, and slightly better dispersion, very slight in dry conditions, but in wet conditions, it made a more significant difference. So, if you're playing in rain or whatever, it just gives you a little bit more friction, a little bit more consistency in terms of spin control and overall, flight control.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, kind of that sole being a little bit different, made for. I feel like the kind of that ridge down the center is definitely a little bit more pronounced. Does that do anything? I mean, along with stiffening it up, does that do anything with like the aerodynamics or anything like that with it, or is it pretty much just for the stiffening of the sole?
I mean, it's designed to be aerodynamic as well, like the way our structure is. I mean, for aero, a lot of the drag comes more so from how the crown comes off the sole, like the way that because you have like loft on the face and the way the air flows, so the sole is a little bit less important to aero than the crown features.
Gotcha.
Like the way that the modeling works, but we do keep. Obviously, you could screw it up still somehow, like if you didn't do it right. But it's definitely more important to focus on, like, from an aero perspective. It's crazy, like the radiuses that come off onto the face and the way the geometry comes off, like it can significantly increase the drag forces, how that's designed.
Yep. So yeah, pretty exciting to see. I mean, like I said, from a dress, you might look at it and go, there's not a whole lot there, but there's a ton going on underneath that.
And then plus inside, I mean, you look inside, there's all kinds of, what people don't realize is that the design that goes into the internal geometry, all the thickness changes, where everything's at. Like, we're trying to, like, again, we're doing a lot. We're trying to solve a lot of different things when we're designing product. It's, like I said, we're looking at modal frequencies. How are we optimizing those? We're looking at, MOI. We're looking at, the CG position. And so we're trying to achieve all these different goals at the same time. So there's a lot that goes into the design of products that people may or may not be aware of.
Yeah, well, and internally too, because I mean, as you start changing things around there, not only are you changing the performance, but then you're going to start changing the sound and feel.
Yeah.
Because the vibrations, everything's going to be different inside. So not only are you trying to change things to, like you said, get that frequency up into the face, but then it's like, well, you can't make it sound terrible either, because then nobody's going to want to hit something that's super loud or has got a weird sound. So
I feel like, in order for a product to be well received and consumers to really like it, it's got to look good, it's got to feel good / sound good, and then it's got to perform really well. If it doesn't do all those things, then most people don't want it. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, pretty exciting, and especially when you can kind of see the inside of it there as well, and see where the hosel is. There's just almost zero material anymore of where that is. Like I mean, it's pretty impressive to see. Like
we save all the mass we can from in there. Been something we've done for a while, but like we don't want we don't want grams of mass in areas that we don't need it, so we try to take it everywhere we can and put it in places where it's going to help you.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting to see some brand new tech. Exciting to be able to hit these and test them out, because I think Black Ops for sure up until this point was, I mean, it was the best driver you guys ever made
for sure.
It was a really good product, and now to see an expansion of the line, as well as the added tech, the new, the new stuff into it, it's going to be exciting here, I think, for Woods, for PXG.
Yeah, I agree.
So awesome. So that is the brand new PXG Lightning driver, and when you get a chance, go check it out, go get fit, go hit it, and so it works for you. Thanks,
Sounds
bro.
good. Thanks, Brian.